Mr. WrestleMania, a man who has had countless classics at the showcase of the Immortals, a man who can do it all. He has been one of the highlight matches, no matter who he fought. People were excited to see his match. I'm not talking about Shawn Michaels, I'm talking about the dead man himself, The Undertaker. What is up, guys? It's me, the ALEXX Prince. And for the next WrestleMania debates, I'll be talking about who truly should have ended the streak. But first, we gotta look back at uh, his 21-0 streak. The man was just undefeated, having countless matches until WrestleMania 30, the unexpected. He went 21-1. Now, a lot of people have said that he should have retired with the streak. And personally, I agree if the match was if it was 20-0. If we had Undertaker and that 20-0, that should have been the end of the Undertaker. That should have been a big epic farewell to the man. He done it all. There's nothing else for the man to do. 20-0 was the perfect way to end his streak. But then desperation arrived when John Cena and The Rock had the headline last year's WrestleMania, and CM Punk had nothing to do. So, what should we do with CM Punk? Hey, I'm CM Punk here. I busted my ass off, and I need to be in the main event. That's all I asked for. No. We're gonna do Rock and Cena again. Nobody wants to see Rock and Cena again. Who am I supposed to face? There's no one left for me to face. Let me think of something. Here's the Undertaker's phone number. Call him. We'll bring him back. He'll fight you. Am I gonna win? Nope. So yes, the Undertaker came back to 21-1. So in my mind, and in a lot of people's mind, he was gonna go 25-0 and then retire it once and for good. Some people predicted that, but then WrestleMania 30 hit, and sure enough, when the streak ended, people were shocked. People were distracted. No one could think right. Like the next match was the Divas Invitational. No one gave a shit. It was gonna be hard to come back from it, but then Daniel Bryan had his big moment, and it made it better for all of us. So thank goodness for Daniel Bryan for you know overcoming those odds, because it's like, goddamn, how is this man gonna recover from that? Well, sure enough, we get this. And yeah, personally, I think they went the right route. I think him ending the streak at WrestleMania 30 specifically was the right call. Because no offense to Daniel Bryan and no offense to anybody in the card, there was nothing epic that was going to happen. I mean, people were going to be excited for the Daniel Bryan moment. People are going to be loving the Hogan, Rock, Steve Austin segment to open the show. People were going to love Antonio Cesaro get his big moment that took forever for him to be at the top where he should be. Um, Hell, people thought this was going to be the night the Shield disbanded. That ended up happening months later, because this is the same night that we got the Kane and the New Age Outlaws get squashed by the Shield for no apparent reason. And, Cena was just going to bury another young talent, that of being Bray Wyatt, who gets his revenge 6 years later in the Firefly Funhouse. So, another match that was hyped was Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. Now, people remember this for being a shitty feud. Like, it was just video packages, and it was just like, oh, okay, yes, we're getting Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, but they're barely on TV. And sure enough, they do put these guys on TV. They do have some good hype for the match. But, like I said, Brock Lesnar was barely there. And then the match happened. No one gave a shit because the build was horrible. And then showed that The Undertaker was older and hell, it was so bad that the Undertaker wanted to keep going until he had his legit proper match to end his career. And yeah, the second that streak ended, everybody was shocked. It was insane. And I think that was the right call. You needed an epic big moment. And what better after 30 years of WrestleMania, the unthinkable happens and the streak fucking ends. I'm sorry, but no matter how big the Daniel Bryan moment was, no matter how epic that opening segment with The Rock, Hogan, and Steve Austin was, nothing would have mattered because it was just gonna be another WrestleMania. We needed an epic moment, and what better epic moment than ending the freaking streak? Like I said, if the Undertaker retired at 20-0, then we wouldn't have had this discussion ever. Um, but if he were to continue, yes, he'd eventually have to lose the streak. But who truly deserved that moment? Who truly should have ended that moment? So a lot of people said that it should have been CM Punk the previous year. And yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen. CM Punk, who is a top worthy WrestleMania main event worthy nonetheless, he wasn't didn't seem like the right guy after all the guys he has fought over the past years. Think about it. Undertaker beat Shawn Michaels, retired him, beat Triple H 3 times, Batista, Edge, Big Show, Mark Henry, Kane twice. So all of those mega names, and you mean to tell me that CM Punk did it? No offense to CM Punk, but yeah, it just didn't fit his character. Plus, he was taking some time off. More on that later. But honestly, based on the card that we got, Brock Lesnar did make the most sense because one, it was realistic. It was a UFC fighter who broke the odds and did the unthinkable, and that is break the streak. There's many theories as to whose idea was that. Some people say it was Lesnar's idea. Some people say it was Vince, Taker's, uh, Paul Heyman, anybody. Who cares? But yeah, that moment was epic. And yeah, realistically, Brock Lesnar was the only one that made sense to break the streak, giving his his spot in the match. But what if it happened the previous year? Think about it. Now, let's say Brock Lesnar beat John Cena at Extreme Rules. He actually beat him in the match 1-on-1 or in the Extreme Rules match. He puts an end to Triple H at SummerSlam 2012. And then he calls out Undertaker. He says that at WrestleMania, I'm going to do the unthinkable, break the streak. He's only had 2 matches, but he beat 2 of the biggest names, John Cena and Triple H. So now he's facing the Undertaker. And it's just like, oh, okay, Undertaker's back. Boom! The streak ends. Brock Lesnar beats the streak at WrestleMania 29. People would mark the hell out for that moment. And I think it was too little too late for Brock Lesnar because up to this point, he's already lost to Triple H and John Cena, who he should have beaten in those individual matches. Yeah, they really did Brock Lesnar wrong, honest to God. But they did redeem themselves yet again. Um, when when they showed us the Brock Lesnar that we know. Now, yes, he's a part timer, and yes, he didn't give a shit about the business, but he was entertaining. He's been at the top of his game ever since he beat the streak. He's been like the unstoppable beast. So he did a great job. The problem is he's a fucking part timer, and how are you supposed to get people invested into your program if the guy who ended the streak is not there from time to time? It hurts it. Um, hell, I heard rumors that the original. I know that there was talks of doing Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus. But I know deep down they were gonna scrap that. But there was also talks of doing Undertaker and Daniel Bryan just to please the fans, and then do uh Batista and Randy Orton, and then Brock Lesnar and John Cena or something to that extent. which sounds like shit. I'm sorry, that sounds way worse. Like another John Cena Brock Lesnar match? No, thank you. But then that means that Daniel Bryan would have just gotten squashed by the Undertaker, and we just keep going without the streak ending. So yes, Daniel Bryan was not the right choice. But another good choice that people have said was Bray Wyatt, and this one actually excited me because if you think about it, if we keep majority of the card similar, um, you could do the match. You could honestly do it. Bray Wyatt, the few people have considered he was going to be the next Undertaker. It would have made sense of a good passing of the torch moment, and it was unexpected. No one, we've never seen this match before, which was the biggest problem with Brock and CM Punk. We've seen Taker fight those guys countless times in the past few years, but we've never seen Bray Wyatt and Undertaker up to this point. So how cool would it have been if Bray Wyatt was the one behind the one in 21 and 1? That is actually really good. I forgot who told me that, but I would really like to thank that person because that was a brilliant move and I think that was a great call. But for me, as far as who truly should have ended the streak, you guessed it, Mr. You Can't See Me, John Cena. Why John Cena? Well, this was the only person who could have believably end the streak. He was still gonna be on television day to day, so he'll constantly get that heel heat each week on Raw, which will bring the fucking ratings up, which is something people have been begging for. And if he were to take the belts off of Daniel Bryan, now he gets even more heel heat from the fans. So yes, John Cena should have been the one to end the streak because it would have changed the game. Yes, Brock Lesnar changed the game. Honestly, anyone who could have ended the streak was gonna change the game. But who's gonna change it the most? John Cena. Like I mentioned, he's always on TV at the time. He People already fucking hate his guts. So just push it, just go all out and make him heel. And John Cena actually could actually make the fans turn on him. I mean, shit. Look at ECW One Night Stand. He was the most hated man in that fucking arena. Yeah. Um. And could you have still had that moment of Daniel Bryan overcoming the odds? Absolutely. Personally, my card for WrestleMania 30, and I guarantee you, everybody has this card. Uh, Bryan versus Triple H. Winner faces Randy Orton in the main event. The Andre Battle Royal. Shield and the Wyatts. Brock and Batista. Uh, Taker and Cena. AJ and Paige. And of course, the main event, Randy Orton versus the winner of Bryan and Triple H, which is Daniel Bryan. And then he gets to overcome the odds. That would have been good for business. But they never did that. They never put the trigger on it. Um, Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, I get it. They were scared to turn their one of their top baby faces heel, but this would have been great for business because this shows that we're gonna push new stars. We're gonna make the veterans, the heels, such as similar to like what they were doing, what they should have done with ECW with the new breed. Um, Trust me, if they made the ECW originals the heels and the new breed the faces, I guarantee you people would have been a little bit more invested. Sometimes you just need to switch some roles, and this would have made a lot of sense in the long run. Uh, as far as Brock Lesnar goes, I think yes, he maybe wasn't. I think he deep down was the right call, but it was kind of like out of desperation. One, like for starters, this match should have happened at WrestleMania 29 if Brock Lesnar was going to be the one to end the streak. He was red hot, but by this point he was already like dead. Like if he lost to the Undertaker, there's no coming back for Brock Lesnar. He needed to end the streak because otherwise it's over for Lesnar. And granted, it might have been the best thing to ever happen to him, but it was like one of those too little, too late moments. So yes, I believe that the streak should have ended at WrestleMania 30. I believe that we should have given it to a person who's there consistently. you could either done Bray Wyatt or John Cena. For me, it would have been John Cena. And as far as um when the Undertaker should have retired, personally, why not have him miss out on WrestleMania 31? Then he comes back at WrestleMania 32 after Sting finishes off his feud with Triple H, and then you do Undertaker and Sting at WrestleMania 32, and then that would have been the perfect cap off to both men's careers. That's personally what I would have done in the long run for the Undertaker. Or if you wanted to, you could have had this like farewell tour for the Undertaker. I think he would have appreciated that. Like take on some of the younger talents just before he hangs up the boots, and then he finally faces Sting, and that would have been a better way to cap off the Undertaker. Uh, so, what is your guys' thoughts? What What do you guys think? Did the streak need to end? Was Brock Lesnar the right call? What should have been the Undertaker's streak after Undertaker's career after the streak, I should say? And yeah, just give me all your thoughts. It's me, the ALE Double X Prince. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and until then, I'm out.